Train the muscles, not the joints. Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about strict versus non-strict form, or maybe a little bit of swinging or something, right? A common misconception out there is that super strict form is the only way to achieve muscularity.
Hot.
Take that, man. Yeah, hot, yeah.
It's not what chillax been.
I will say sometimes if you're too strict, it can actually be a hindrance to your training as opposed to helping it. So again, the disclaimer around this, of course, is that first and foremost, you want to avoid injury as much as possible, or try to. I mean, as much as it is pretty much impossible in this path. As you're bodybuilding, lifting weights, and challenging the body, you will hit walls once in a while, and sometimes you will tweak something. But the thing is with doing strict form is sometimes, although it is safer, you may not challenge certain muscle groups. A classic example is this. Here I'm doing some barbell curls. Now, I never, or not never, but rarely ever do this sort of heavier weight and swing like this. But the reason why I'm doing this is because I feel like I've been doing lots of reps, 50 reps, 40 reps, 30 reps with dumbbells, and using form where I can easily do lots of repetitions and find my groove. But I find that sometimes I need to overload the muscle in a different way, such as doing super heavyweight. Now, obviously that's not my form all the time. And I have to uneven my grip because one shoulder sits down different because of my shoulder injury, whatever, all that aside. I did a warm-up set first, and then I'm just doing a couple sets of this just to shock the system, then I'll go back down to more proper form later on, right? Or in another workout. Now, of course, you want to make sure that you're warmed up properly and that you're not feeling like there's any tweaks or sprains or problems going on before you attempt this. But at the same time, there is a muscle soreness that I find I can access if I push beyond what is called strict, right? Now, if I stand up against a wall and just do 15-pound dumbbells and just do super strict form up and down, yes, I will hit certain muscle fibers. I will challenge the body in a certain way, but not always. So again, it boils down to the muscle fibers that you hit. And sometimes you will not hit those muscle fibers by going super strict, because sometimes there are also different weak links going on. So sometimes going super strict is going against the natural movement pattern of the body. This sometimes boils down to different types of stability that you have in the joints. Say if your shoulder's unstable and then your shoulder has to move a little bit in order for the bicep to be contracting properly, then of course doing super strict form might work against you getting an awesome bicep pump. Now, some of you say, oh, that's impossible. My shoulder doesn't have to move. Well, some people have labral tears. Some people have certain issues or hypermobility in different joints which will change how they move, and sometimes being super strict will actually hinder their ability to recruit as much muscle fibers as possible because they're not working with the way their body moves. Now, another way that strict form can hinder you is, say you're using a heavyweight, say you're using 150 or 160 pounds for curls, but you only weigh 170, 180 pounds. It just stands to reason that if I have a weight that's 160 pounds and I hold it out like this, my body's gonna just go right over. I'm not going to be able to stabilize, right? I have to lean back and counterbalance that weight in order to keep standing up, right? If I just hold the weight out like this at 180 pounds, it'll just pull me right over. Right? My feet won't be able to stabilize that. So when you're using heavier weights, there's going to be this counterbalance sort of action that happens in order to maintain the standing position. So if you're going too strict, you're not going to be able to do that. The only way you're going to be able to curl is to be able to keep the elbows way back, and then of course that will also change the form. So I've seen one YouTuber get made fun of. He was curling 300 pounds, which is absurd how much weight he was using. It's crazy. But they were saying, oh, you're not going strict enough and you're swinging a bit and stuff. Well, I mean, obviously the guy only weighed 200 and something pounds and then he was doing 300-pound curls. Well, he'll have to compensate for that weight. Otherwise he'd be on the floor or fall down. So this is another way that you can explain that sometimes being super strict is not necessarily in resonance with what's a natural movement in each scenario. Well, that's the end of this little workout. Now I'm gonna go play some video games. So yeah, don't be afraid to experiment as well with some heavier weights from time to time if it feels safe for you, and don't worry so much if you're super strict all the time. If you're super strict all the time, it will keep your gains back in some cases. I find some people don't respond as well to super strict form, and I've seen that with some guys in the gym. I see these guys that just the skinniest arms ever, but they're always like super strict, and they were form Nazis really, but they weren't getting any sort of results because they weren't actually challenging the muscle, although they were putting out an immense amount of effort. So anyway, I hope this helps you just have a different point of view on what is strict versus non-strict, and doing both I think is necessary. Don't get too married to one way or the other. Just find out what's right for you in this, and I hope this helps break any sort of pattern you might have around that. So thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get hold of me, just go to naturallandbodybuilding.com, and thanks a lot to the patrons. And thanks a lot to the patron supporters, and take care for now.